I want to review interval notation with you. So most of us are familiar, and what you remember first learning is something like this. X is 3. You might have seen, X is, let's see here. So, or you could have seen the less than version, or you might see something with X in the middle. Okay, these can all be translated into interval notation. And I'm starting with the just less than or greater than. Less than or greater than. Remember, those are the open symbols. So if I graphed this, right, this is saying X can be anything bigger. So if I had a number line here, this means X can go anywhere this way. I don't know. Okay, well, I guess I got 2 of them. And that meant we're not including 3. This does not include 3. This is anything bigger than 3, but it does not include 3. We would, on a graph, use an open circle to denote that. In interval notation, we use a parenthesis. So a parenthesis equals an open circle. It means we do not include, okay? And that didn't come out. So I'm going to actually open a second sheet here, and we're going to write out some notes. So our old open circle, this means not included, right? And this is less than or greater than without the sign underneath it, okay? Open circle. In interval notation, you are going to use a parenthesis to represent less than or greater than without the thing. And we'll come back to this in a minute, okay? So how do we write these then as interval notation? Well, this first one, this says that I start with 3, right? Okay. And I'm going to go to anything up. Now I use an parenthesis. Infinity is always open-ended because we don't know where it ends. So this and this are the same thing. This says that on this graph 3, I start at 3, my open circle, and I go to positive infinity right there. Now, what about this one here? Well, now I'm going to start at negative infinity, right? Because it's anything smaller. And I go to 5, but I don't include it, so I use a parenthesis. This one would actually look like a graphing point. It looks horrible because both ends aren't included. It's between 3 and 5, okay? But it doesn't include either 3 or 5, and I just do parenthesis 3, 5. Now, what's the difference? And this is where interval notation gets interesting. We have to be paying attention here. Is that I could have something, of course, like or equals, right? And I could do something like is between 3 and 5 now. This was our old closed circle because I'm including it, right? This was including. So if I did this where it's greater than, I would start at 5 and I would go off to positive infinity, but I'm including 5. So now I'm going to use a bracket. So closed circle, man, I can't type, which means included, okay, nice and inclusive. And this is our, we're going to go find our symbol here, our greater than or less than with the or equals under it, right? This will use a bracket to represent these two, okay? So when we come back over here then, when I look at this one, so this is, I'm eating this, my dinosaur, it's eating that, it's going off to positive infinity, right? Bracket 5, infinity, but infinity is still a parenthesis because we never use a bracket for infinity, okay? So infinity will always be a parenthesis. This one here, I'm going to start at negative infinity, and then I go and I'm going to include that 3. That 3 is part of it. This one would be bracket 3, 5. Now we have one more solution, and I don't know why it wouldn't do another page, but here we go. what if I had something like this? I had 3 not included, but I'm including 5. Well, then I use a parenthesis on this end and a bracket on this end to show that I'm not including 3, but I am including 5. Okay. We can even turn this into set builder. So suppose I had something like that it is greater than 5 or it is less than 3. Okay. So then I'm going from negative infinity to 3, and I'm going to make this or equals, or then I'm picking up at 5 and I'm going off. So I can turn this into anything I want. The big thing to remember is parenthesis means not included, bracket means included. So then if I don't have the line under it that's or equals, I'm going to use a parenthesis. If I do, I'm going to use a bracket. And once you get used to this, and you might already be used to it, it's pretty easy to remember, but it just takes a little bit of getting used to, but they are going to use this throughout the book.